Welcome back, teaching teams. Um, it is August 7th, and I am still pregnant. But when you watch this video at back to school, I will officially have a baby boy. So I can't wait to share that with you guys. But I figured I would record our back to school PowerPoint and share it with you. And if you have any questions, feel free to touch base with Jen, Abby, or Christina. So welcome back to our 26-27 school year. First, we're going to start with classroom expectations. A lot of this, most of this is not new. Physical setup. So really exciting stuff happening this summer. As you guys know, we got a ton of new seating. We got a lot of new equipment. We got some new shelving. We condensed at both buildings. So you guys are going to see some, I would say, recycled materials and or furniture in your spaces. But you're going to have access to just a lot to use for your physical setup. Developmentally appropriate toys and materials. Again, you shared your wish list. You got pretty much everything on your wish list. So we're really looking for these spaces to be developmentally appropriate and engaging. So again, think pretend play, think small manipulatives, think cause and effect. When you get your class list and you know what ratio of classroom you are teaching, it's going to give you a little bit of a better idea in terms of what toys and materials that you really should have access to every single day. One of the biggest pushes this year is a sensory bin area. So classrooms will now be expected to have an designated sensory storage in their room with labeled bins of sensory materials. These should be rotated on a weekly basis. So we are asking that sensory play be incorporated in every classroom and built into your lesson plan. So the lesson plan template will be the same as it has been. And the expectation is now that you are actually inputting into your lesson plan how you are incorporating some sort of sensory on a daily basis. We have purchased a significant amount of bulk sensory materials, and you will see when the girls pass out your beautiful back to school kits, which will include about 5 or 6 bins worth of bulk sensory material. So we are making a push this year, whether you are a special class or you are integrated, every classroom is expected to use those sensory materials. They're going to be stored in your room. If and when you run out, Christina and Abby both have access to additional materials. So please let them know and they will refill and restock your area. But this summer, we've really amped up our sensory, and we just have seen such a positive outcome from that. So we're really pushing that this year. In addition, classroom expectations, again, nothing has changed here. We're really looking for those tiered levels of support being present. So real life visuals, core visuals, transition objects, sensory supports, your first then boards, your clearly labeled areas, clearly defined spaces, right? When we think about the first 2 to 3 months of school, it is really about the rigor behind instilling that structure and routine. And these levels of support are really, really crucial in being able to do that for our students. So we're looking and expecting that those things are going to exist again in every single classroom. And then you guys will adapt and change and use them based off of what your kids kind of look like, what the makeup looks like. Another thing we're looking for with classroom expectations is just clearly defined roles and responsibilities for TAs and aides. So this really should be a collaborative conversation with the teacher and the team about what everybody's role and responsibility is in the classroom. That way the communication is clear, it's open, and everybody knows what their expectation is. Classroom cleaning checklists should still exist. We really want to be diligent. This summer, I felt like there was just some classroom spaces that were, needed a lot of TLC. So we really want to start the school year out and then keep the momentum going with clean classrooms. So classroom cleaning checklist, this should look like something that doesn't just happen at the end of the day or the beginning of the day. I know these classrooms are a lot to manage, but we really should be thinking about that organization and that cleaning to some degree on a regular basis within the 2.5 hours, right? That doesn't mean you have to be following the kids around cleaning up after them 24/7, but to create regulation amongst the classrooms, we do have to have some sort of physical order. So things all over the place all the time can tend to be very overwhelming, not just to the adults, but to the children as well. So let's be mindful that we are making sure our spaces are remaining clean, because what goes along with that is making sure that we're keeping track of all of our kids' belongings, right? Things are labeled, things are in the places they're supposed to be. So that way anybody who walks in the room can find what they need to and know where things are supposed to go and be. Goes along with it, clutter-free shelves and closet areas. Most of you know this is huge for me, especially the special class teams. You know this is huge for me. Please be mindful. The back closet areas and the shelves are not for clutter. They're not for, random miscellaneous. They're not your random miscellaneous junk drawers at home. They need to have some order to them, right? If your shelves are responsible for your placemats and your snacks and your hand sanitizer and your wipes and your paper towels, then that's what it should be. It should not be just collecting anything and everything that falls on the floor. And same thing with your closet spaces. Your closet spaces should be for your kids' backpacks, their belongings. They should be clearly labeled. And then you should have some sort of an organizational system in terms of what actually goes back there, what comes out of there, and making sure that there is a clear path and in floor space. So again, something that we're really going to push for this year is to just be more mindful about what our spaces look like. Because again, it's not just overwhelming for staff, right? It is overwhelming for the kids as well. Labeled bins, you guys all know this, snack bins, hooks, sign-in procedure for students. So again, every classroom should have some sort of sign-in procedure. We want that awareness that, okay, I just came off the bus, I just came out of mom and dad's car, and now I'm at school. And how can I make that transition, in my brain? Allergy alerts, so these should be posted in the classroom. Kids' names, allergy, EpiPen, location, all of that. Nothing has changed there. Make sure that your classroom door is labeled. You have pictures of each team member. It's visually appealing and welcoming. You guys don't need the spiel on that. I think the kids really do make connections with the physical appearance of the door. So take that for what it is, but we are asking that they are labeled and that we can see all your beautiful faces. Define areas within the classroom, right? You have your defined snack table, small group. You have your defined circle time. You have your defined play areas. And then, we would love to see every classroom have at least some sort of a calm down in a book area. This year, this is something that's new. We are asking for all classrooms to trial a schedule where small group directly follows circle time. So when you sit down with your team to think about your schedule for your day, please be mindful that we are trialing that small group comes directly after circle. We have found that the rooms that do this, it looks more seamless and it just provides a more smooth transition. All right. Documentations and system reminders, create your dojos, invite your parents to your dojo pages, make sure your team's invited to dojo, make sure your leadership members are invited to dojo, your therapists. Weekly posts are encouraged. Parents want to know what their kids are doing, what they're learning. They want to see their cute faces. please make sure you check the registrations to make sure that media authorization is approved for each child before posting. ProviderSoft, as you get back into the building and get your caseload, your kids, please make sure that you are checking to make sure you have access to everybody, you have access on Frontline. It is still an expectation throughout the year that you are documenting and creating notes about each student, and that's where you're going to find their documents as well. Same thing, that you have Frontline access. You need to have access to all of your students. If you do not have access, and that needs to be checked ASAP, that you need to reach out and gain access to your children, because again, this is going to be crucial for things like quarterlies. Attestations, they are going to remain the same, easy peasy. You are going into ProviderSoft and you are taking care of the itinerant IEP attestation for every single one of your program kids. So if you have UPK or neurotypical community-based kids, you do not need to do an attestation for them. You are only doing an attestation for your program kids. Make sure that you have access to the most recent IEP. So it should say 26, 27, and that you really are reading through these IEPs and know what the goals are, know what the allergies are, and any of those special alerts, things like PCT, AT, and outside providers. Okay, documentation systems new. A lot of this stuff is not new, but there are a couple new things. So Relias. This year, we are going to really push the Relias mandated trainings and the Know Before. These actually are going to be a requirement for you to stay up to date on them to receive your hour coupons. So in addition to your attendance being factored into the hour coupons, these trainings are as well. We find that, we say that they're mandatory and they have to do them, and then time and time again, they're still not getting done. So that is, again, going to be something that we're stressing this year. It's an agency policy. Again, it is really crucial that those get done. So you guys are staying up to date with the latest agency policies and procedures. And when, we are audited as a company, that we are doing our due diligence in completing those trainings. Liberty Connect, we have had it, so everybody should kind of know how to access it, and it is where you will find SharePoint. The support portal, so that's, again, part of Liberty Connect. That's where you're going to be able to submit a help desk ticket. If you don't know how to do that, please find somebody that does, and they can walk you through. Everybody should have access to letter links this year. Here is the username and the password for you to go in. Again, please reach out to Jen if you are having a difficult time accessing it, but nobody should have to pay for it this year. Everybody should be able to go in and create the letter links for their kids. We, yay, have YouTube family subscriptions. So everybody should have gotten an email invite from myself or Jen. If you didn't, please reach out to us and we will add you to our subscription. This is exciting because it will help take care of no ads. So we are really excited about this. Thank you, Allie, for the wonderful suggestion. We still have Boardmaker. Here is the login and password for Boardmaker. So you guys can just go absolutely bonkers with the visuals this year. Nothing has really changed in terms of our safe handling policy. This is also in our handbook and something that we have gone over. So again, there's the do's and don'ts of safe handling. This will be in the PowerPoint, so I will kind of let you guys read this. I won't read it word for word, but I think at this point we know how we really should be handling our kids, how we shouldn't. There's definitely a threshold. If you are ever feeling like you are in a situation where you have to put your hands on a student in an uncomfortable way, please let somebody within admin know so we can step in and support that. We shouldn't be pulling on our kids. We shouldn't be pulling up on our kids. We don't want to hurt them, but in turn, we do not want to hurt ourselves. Okay, this is one of the most exciting slides, our curriculum. So this school year, we will continue to use our scope and sequence to really guide our curriculum instruction. So again, the structure closely follows the pre-K standards, which you can find on the document and will also be attached in the back to school email. So I'm going to pull it up in just a second, but in addition to the scope and sequence, we have kind of created almost a manual for our classrooms that really breaks down our curriculum, what you have kind of at your disposal in terms of materials to use, and really what we are looking for these classrooms to look like. So again, some curriculum components that we do follow is that loose kinesthetic handwriting with tears. They actually changed it from handwriting without tears to handwriting with tears. Pre-writing curriculum. Again, a hands-on approach to math. So things like the number blocks, the hand to mind. We're really focusing on that very simple identification, one-to-one correspondence, patterning, colors. Again, that's all in the scope and sequence. We are going to continue on with our SPOT curriculum because I feel like that's been going great, and we really want to be able to build on that this year. And then some new monthly themes that we've added for this school year is life cycle of a flower, life cycle of a butterfly, talking about kind of the solar system, the weather system, and the month of June really being special events month. And having I'm like overjoyed with how wonderful things like the car wash and the lemonade stand went last year, the police officer visit, all of that. So we want to use June as special events. If you guys have ideas, share them with us. Jen and I, if we can make it happen, we will make it happen. We want experience for our kids. We spend, half of the year in a very rigorous routine and schedule. And I feel like towards the end of the year, that can get very mundane and can kind of stall out, and then we lose engagement. So again, a focus for this year is how can we look at the second half of the year and really giving, novel experiences to our kids to help with sustaining that engagement and joint attention. And what better way than to have some special events broken up in there. So our curriculum at STARS, I think overall takes a very kinesthetic approach, hands-on approach. Again, sensory. We have so many sensory seeking kids. And really, in order to maintain that regulation, we need to have sensory opportunities. So this year, like I said, every classroom is receiving a back to school bundle, which will include individually labeled sensory bins, and they will be stored in your classroom for daily and weekly use. I'm going to I want to just quickly show you the scope and sequence in the manual, but everybody will get a copy of this. So hang on. Okay. All right, so this is kind of what the manual is going to look like. So at the top, you see you still have your scope and sequence, okay? It goes month by month, week by week. Not a lot has changed on it, just some of those additions that I spoke about, and a little bit of an increase in that life science component to our curriculum. So you'll see I've added in some science standards. In addition, we've added in right around April, talking about spring farm baby animals. We've added in the water cycle. We've added in the life cycle of a butterfly. We've added in a life cycle of a flower. In addition, talking about gardening and plants. And something that we also added in for May is really talking about around the world. So this could also be a time for you guys to get really creative and maybe pick some popular geographic locations and tie that into transportation and kind of looking at not just where we live, but that there's a bigger world out there. Again, you will tailor it to your kids. That's a pretty broad concept to understand. So, I trust that you guys are going to, you'll water it down or you'll dress it up depending on the needs. And then, like I said, June free choice. So get creative, think about what is going to be the most engaging and what's going to give these kids the best experience. loved the lemonade stand, loved the car wash, loved the police officer visit. So whatever you need from leadership, please let us know so we can make these things happen. Okay, so here is our curriculum overview and resources. So each of the components of our curriculum are, I have taken and kind of broken them down. So you'll see I have our social emotional, I have our handwriting, I have our math, I have our science, I have mine and Jen's conversation. And then I have a curriculum material list. So we tried so hard to be very intentional with what we bought this spring and summer. So everybody's going to have this curriculum material checklist, and it's vital that you go through your bins and make sure that you actually have these things, because the expectation is that they are being used. There was intention and meaning behind actually purchasing them. So again, it will give you the item and then give you the possible use for the item. And then we're asking that you go through and make sure that you have these things. And if you don't, to communicate that with somebody from leadership. This also includes circle time. So another big push is to really ramp up circle time. We, especially in our special classes, tend to have two very similar circle times where it looks a lot like, songs and videos on the TV. And we are looking for how we can make circle time more interactive and hands-on and more engaging. We really should not have that TV on for an entire hour. The TV is to be used as a resource and as an addition to, everything else that should happen at Circle. So some of the things that we got are very, again, tactical, hands-on, egg shakers, scarves, felt boards, manipulatives. Let's bring that back into the Circle. And then again, you either dress it up or you water it, bring it down a little bit, depending on your kids. But circle time should really look like a mixture between using that television for instruction and actually engaging the kids through like our own actions and the manipulatives and the content that we're providing. We're also asking that read alouds get back into circle time. Again, this can happen in the special classes as well. If you come across or are looking for physical copies of books in addition to copies on the TV, please let us know. The more differentiation you can have, right? You have the TV version, you have the book version, and then from there you have the manipulatives, right? That would be like the picture perfect read aloud, is having access to all three of those. So please be mindful of that, because again, it is for some kids, watching the TV is very regulating and it's stimulating, but it can also be overstimulating and not stimulating in the right ways. So we really need to be mindful that our structured time is really intentional to engage our kids, with actual hands-on interactive learning. Okay, here is a list of your classroom sensory materials. Again, you have your item. Please make sure you have it. If you don't or you need more, let us know. I put together a wonderful mock schedule of the components that really should be present and what this should look like. So I'm not going to go through it. You will get this in the manual, but it goes through and talks about things like arrival, tabletop or that exploratory time, circle time hello, small group, motor time, free play, snack time, bathroom. Again, this was something that I think Abby and Christina supported with the TAs creating last year, and I love it. So I have added it here and just tweaked it a little bit. This is a great teaching assistant daily task guide. So when you are talking about what your roles should be within the classroom, please refer to this, because it really does go through what the expectations are for our teaching assistants and aides on a daily basis. and it deciphers kind of some differences between Webster and Irondequoit, because as we know, those buildings are different. And it goes through pretty much every aspect of the day and what that expectation is. Okay, I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. Okay. So integrated committees. I know that we've been trialing this for the past couple of years. We appreciate that you guys have been so on board with kind of navigating what this could look like. This year, we will continue to meet as an integrated and special class teams. It will be required each quarter. And Jen and I will be the ones to kind of navigate these meetings, and we will most likely do them in like a Zoom fashion. So we'll meet in this type of style. We'll have kind of like a clear agenda provided beforehand. And then, you know, we will have like a collaborative conversation where Jen and I kind of lead the, you know, and go through the agenda of what that looks like. So we want to be mindful to keep people, you know, where at their sites at the driving time. If we feel like after quarter one or quarter two, like that we're really eager to meet somewhere offsite and see each other and be in person, we can do that. You guys know we are open to your feedback, and we want to do what's best for these classrooms. And we want these meetings to be productive and to, again, be meaningful. So this can, again, remains a work in progress, but we do feel like it is important for, you know, our integrated and special class teams to be meeting quarterly to really just make sure everybody's on the same page. Okay, that was really fast and quick, but nobody wants to listen to me for more than 30 minutes. So I'm going to leave you guys to have an amazing start of the school year. I miss every single one of you. You're going to do phenomenal, and think about how much you're going to change these kids' lives. I will be back, and I cannot wait to see all the incredible progress from now to November. I appreciate every single one of you. You are fabulous. Have a great first day of school.